Long after lacing the skate, these two former enforcers are still going at it, this time on Twitter. I'm going to break down the whole situation and give my opinion. Coming up next on the Sin Bin. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome. My name is Matt, and welcome to the Sin Bin. Now, I'm not some big Twitter guy, okay? I post on a regular basis, but compared to some of my peers, I don't go on Twitter as much. But with that being said, Paul Biznasty is a great follow if you guys want to follow someone in the hockey world, someone who's very entertaining. Well, I opened my Twitter a few minutes ago, and I see something's going on with Paul Biznasty and former teammate Daniel Carcillo. If memory serves me right, they both played for the Wilkes-Barre Penguins, and they're obviously two very big enforcers. After retiring, Daniel Carcillo, he's done a lot raising awareness for concussions, and Paul Biznasty, well, we all know what he's been up to. He's been doing a lot of media coverage, a lot of content pieces. He has the Spitting Chicklets podcast that if you guys don't watch it, please do yourselves a favor and watch that podcast. If you're a hockey fan, you'll absolutely like it. Well, if I'm to direct my attention to the situation here, there was an article posted by the Globe and Mail, and it's called "The Power of Paul Bissonnette: How a Former Tough Guy Became the Most Influential Person in Hockey." Now, I think Paul will be the first to tell you that maybe he's not the most influential person in hockey, but let me say I love what this guy is doing in terms of like making the game more popular. One thing that's always annoyed me is that studying in the United States, less of a problem in Canada, but in the United States, hockey's not that big of a deal. I mean, they watch their college football, they watch anything except hockey. So I really like what Paul's doing to growing the game of hockey, making it more popular. And I will say, yeah, he's one of the most influential people in hockey. Well, Daniel Carcillo looked at that and he tweeted, "This is damage control after the fallout with Roenick." In case you guys don't know, I've done numerous videos on this, but Roenick went on the Spitting Chicklets podcast. He said a few comments about Catherine Tappan, about Patrick Sharp, got him in some hot water, later got him fired. And, well, Daniel Carcillo decided to give a little jab. I don't know if it was a serious jab. I don't know if he was joking. I don't know if he was tongue-in-cheek. I would have to get into Daniel Carcillo's brain in order to know that. But I would be sort of pissed off if I were Paul Biznasty, because this is an article, it's sort of praising me, it's pumping me up, and you're going to come and rain on my parade and write that stupid tweet. So I kind of see where Paul Biznasty is coming from when he later replies, "Remember when you used to call me N-word in the locker room every day in Wilkes-Barre? Remember when you had a swastika embroidered on a robe underneath the hood you wore in an NHL locker room until the captain found out and talked some sense into you? Welcome to the mud, Dan." Oh boy. So, wow. Let me start off by saying, they're just absolutely going at it. I'm just imagining themselves throwing punches, but this time it's through tweets. I'm not in the Wilkes-Barre locker room. I can't attest to whether Dan Carcillo said the N-word. In case you guys don't know, I think Paul said on the podcast that his mom is like quarter African American or half black or something like that. So Daniel Carcillo allegedly called him the N-word. And again, allegedly, he had a swastika on his bathrobe. I can't comment to whether that's true or not. I know that makes for a sort of lame video, but I'm obviously not a professional hockey player. I mean, just look at my body, look at my fat face. I don't have the athleticism. So I can't attest to whether or not that was actually said. But what I can attest to is that even though these comments, they're very aggressive from Paul Biznasty, I kind of see how he's feeling, because this is an article, maybe he feels like it should be celebrated, it should be liked, and here you come and you bring up a problem that happened, it's sort of old news, and you bring it back up and you rain on his parade. It's happened to me before, stuff like that. I mean, a well-known YouTuber in the spaces, he wrote a comment on one of my videos that I didn't think was funny at all. He said it was a joke. I didn't think it was funny at all. I think this is sort of a similar situation. Well, it doesn't stop there. It goes on, and if I were to find the tweet right here, Daniel Carcillo actually made a response to Paul Biznasty. I'm going to play it. We're actually going to listen to it, and then I'm going to break it down. But here is Daniel Carcillo's response. And let me just put some volume here.
Made by Paul Bissonnette on his Twitter feed yesterday. First and foremost, I'd like to apologize to any of the communities that were triggered by those allegations. And I would also like to take this opportunity to again state that I am guilty, and I was guilty of being a bully, of being or making homophobic, racist remarks and slurs towards people both on and off the ice. I do not hide from that. That is something that I did. I am also trying to regain that karma by doing good in the world now. As far as Paul's allegations, I'll address the first part where he said that I called him the N-word on a daily basis in Wilkes-Barre. Put it into some context, not trying to justify it. Paul has made a following, curated his following off of making fun of himself, and that was no different in the hockey room. And he would pretty routinely call himself a dumb N-word and also make remarks about his mother to get a rise out of people and jokes and laughs. I participated in that. I'm not proud to say that. I'm not justifying what I said in any way, shape, or form. Back February 1st, 2019, I reached out to Paul to have him stop using my name on his podcast without a chance to defend myself. He, again, made these allegations out of context and the false ones as well. And we ended that conversation by hashing it out through text. I apologized emphatically for what I said towards him and his mother, the jokes that I made, if I caused him any harm. He 100% accepted my apology. He also stated that he did not need me to own it publicly when I offered that I would own it publicly as a teaching lesson. And he also stated that it caused him no emotional harm. So that's why I was a little caught off guard yesterday by the message. Now, that being said, here's a public apology to you, Paul. Paul, I apologize for the things that I said, and if it caused you any harm, I'm sorry. Second part of the message, that I wore a robe embroidered with a swastika on it. I did not. I will emphatically deny that, and I will stand by that. Moving forward, what I would like to...
All right. The video ends there for the moment. It probably goes on a little bit longer, but this clip ends there. Now, what do I think about this clip? Well, first of all, the swastika thing on the robe, that seems pretty emphatic that Daniel Carcillo didn't do that. According to this video, at least, he seems pretty sure that he didn't do that. He shut that down completely. And about the N-word, listen, I'm the type of person, I don't get easily offended. I don't get easily triggered. And that sometimes shows off in my type of humor. Now, the N-word, that's one word that me personally, I would never say. Because, I don't know, it just makes me feel uncomfortable saying it. When Daniel Carcillo said the N-word to Paul Bissonnette, because maybe it's true when he says that Paul Bissonnette called himself that, so maybe he was joking along with Paul Bissonnette and he called him the N-word. It's all about context. It really is about context. If it was a joking context and they were in the locker room and it was said with jokes, then it's kind of shitty for Paul Bissonnette to come out now and get offended over it and using that as a weapon against Daniel Carcillo. But if it actually did hurt Paul Bissonnette, then I don't really blame him for bringing it up. Now, as for the swastika, I don't know what that was about. Like I said, it seemed pretty emphatic that Daniel Carcillo did not do that. Now, the thread goes on a little bit longer here. Paul Bissonnette says, I have nothing to hide. I'll address the situation on the podcast. I ask anyone who's sending nasty messages to Dan to please stop. Even with Dan's words towards me personally in the past, I hold no grudges. I am not a victim. I'm a guy who understood someone was in a bad place. And he shows some text messages here between himself and Dan. And I'm not going to really read it. You guys can go get it off Paul Bissonnette's Twitter. This video is getting a little bit long, but that was sort of my insight on what was going on. Excuse me. God, the Diet Coke. What was going on between Paul Bissonnette and Daniel Carcillo. I'm going to stop this video before I throw up, but let me know what you guys think about this whole situation. Does Paul Bissonnette have a point in all of this? Or are you more so on the side of Daniel Carcillo? Or are you just on the side of no one, you think these guys are two huge babies? Let me know. Comment below what you guys think. And also make sure to like and subscribe for more great videos like this, more great hockey content. Habs fan, join in 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for your Habs podcast. And for all of the other hockey fans, I do a hockey podcast Fridays, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So you guys can go check out that podcast. It's really great. So without further ado, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. My name is Matt. Keep your stick on the ice.